What's going on, guys? Scuba Steve here. Hey, some of you guys have been asking, hey, what's up? Where you at? What's going on, guys? I'm actually in a motel right now. I live in Oklahoma. I always say that usually at the end of my videos, and we just had a really bad tornado out here. It was like a mile wide. It was the EF4, and it just obliterated all kinds of power lines and stuff like that. So here I sit. I'm gonna go ahead and do some Q&A right here, just to let you guys know what's been going on, because I have been getting a lot of questions and stuff like that on some of my videos, and I haven't been doing any videos, and obviously there's a reason why, guys. So stay with me and let's do some Q&A with Scoop. Right, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
That travelistic funk.
This is something for my people. Deeper and deeper I keep digging.
Okay, this is one comment from a Chloe XXXXX, and she commented on. She said, "You need to learn that plants feed off of mainly nitrates from the water column and not ammonia." Chloe, sorry, that is not accurate. That's not true. They actually feed on the ammonia first. Nitrate is the absolute last thing that plants feed on. So, this is the reason that I have my YouTube channel. And next one is also from Chloe, and she said that this was about a fish cycle, and she was talking about this was a comment that I put on a guy's video, and it was about not using prime. Don't use anything that's going to bind the ammonia when you're trying to cycle a tank. You're just retarding the process. Ammonia needs to flow inside the tank in order to be able to create nitrites, and that eventually creates the nitrates. And I've done videos on this stuff. I've shown it, I've proven it. This is how you do it, and this is how it can be done. I've documented that process right there, via video, and I've put videos up on that. It can be done in 10 days to 2 weeks. It does not have to be this long, drawn out process, and you don't have to use fish to cycle a tank. But if you use an ammonia retardant, then you will slow down the process. And of course, she said that it does not stall the cycle at all. You need to research correctly, I'm afraid. Again, Chloe, sorry, completely disagree with you. I would take your advice, give it back to you, and say ditto. You need to do your research. This is on my video of why German blue rams die, and this guy said maybe it's because your tank is he died because your tank is ridiculously unadapted. I don't even know what that means. I've had German blue rams in sand tanks. I've had them in gravel tanks. I've had them in eco-complete tanks. I've had them in bare bottom tanks. And so long as they're in a large tank that holds a large volume of water that you can't upset the water parameters so easy by changing water, these fish do just fine. You want to give them enough space, let them be able to hide, let them be able to have their little nook, their little cranny. Don't keep them with fast moving fish that stress them out. Do your water changes on a regular basis, and so on and so forth. I don't even know what that means. I told the guy, I said, hey, you're a troll, and he was like, no, I'm not. I looked at his channel, and I guess these guys, I guess they're like ghost accounts. They just put up these channels, and then there's no picture, there's no about, there's no videos, there's no likes, there's no nothing, but they just come over and try to bomb my video. So hey, you know what? I give you guys the negative comment, but I did block him because he's clearly just a troll. Let's see. Okay, this next comment comes from a guy, and he says, hey, have you ever noticed how clean we actually try to keep our Discus tanks? Have you ever seen the muddy water that they come from? Okay, let's focus on this for a minute. Okay, so the muddy water that they come from usually is really really clear. You know, the cameras that are filming down in there, usually from the people that are in there disturbing and running up all the silt and stuff like that. That is those tributaries and the Amazon River itself, though, that is the best filtering system in the world. I mean, it filters out everything, and the water is being changed. It's really, really bad analogy to try to make that, you know, about the river being dirty and you know, the so-called fuss that we put into you know, keeping our tanks clean, especially with Discus. Discus and German blue rams do not do well with high bacteria loads, and the water that they come from is very acidic. Okay, so while they can adapt, you know, especially the ones that are tank bred, it's the bacteria that thrives in harder water, and that builds and accumulates inside of our aquariums and inside of our tanks. That's the biggest killer of these fish, because they're just not equipped to be able to deal with high bacteria loads. So you either do massive water changes a lot all the time, or you're going to be dealing with bacterial infections, or you keep your water, you know, acidic to inhibit the growth of bacteria. Choice is yours. It's up to the hobbyist, but those are the facts. That's just the way that it is. Okay. So I've got another question about beef heart, okay, and about feeding and how do I make sure that my other fish get fed. Take your beef heart, spread it all the way out, you know, across the entire tank. Okay, the most dominant one will try to, you know, get on it. This is another reason why we say Discus have to be in groups of at least 6. Even 6 is not, you know, is not really recommended as being enough. The actual number is like 10. When they're in a school, okay, they do what's called competitive eating, and they'll all go down to the bottom and just start picking off, and they'll all eat it, and they'll all eat it fast, and it'll be gone. All of your Discus will be fed. Yeah, if one of them is getting chased off, that means that either the beef heart's not being spread out enough, or you don't have enough Discus inside of your tanks. Okay, and the last question that I'm going to deal with today is about this guy asked me about beef heart and how long could he leave it in to make sure that his other one ate, you know, before it fouls up the water. Okay, so when you're trying to grow out Discus, this is the time when you're feeding beef heart. Okay, I had one person tell me that they were feeding like Tetra Flakes, and I just Tetramin, and you know, it just popped my head. You know, that is not what Discus eat. That is not how you feed Discus or grow them out. That is how you stunt them, and that is not recommended at all. Discus are not regular, you know, aquarium store fish that you just go and buy and get yourself a little you know, can of flake food and feed it to them. That is not how you keep a Discus. You want to feed them beef heart, and I will also touch on that in a minute. Let's see, when you're growing out Discus, feed them beef heart, and then after you're done feeding them, you know, and they're done, you want to do a water change. Okay, I don't care if it's 25%, I don't care if it's 50%, whatever makes you feel good, but you want to, you know, get your siphon in there, get out that bad stuff, and, you know, give them some fresh water. Okay, now I have a good friend of mine who's a breeder, and he represents a lot of other breeders. Mac at Mac's Discus, and Mac told me one time, he said, Steve, he said, you know, Discus don't need beef heart. They don't eat that stuff in the wild. And I said, well, now wait on, Mac. I said, now, Discus do eat animal protein. Okay, that is what they would eat in the wild. And that's what beef heart is animal protein. So to the people that say, well, they don't need that, you know, because that's not what they eat in the wild, you know, think again. Yeah, they actually do. You know, I differ with that. Guys, ladies, I will be back. I have to, you know, get back, rebuild, reset up, and I will be back with you guys, okay? I'm checking out your videos. If this is your first time on my channel, hit that sub button. I promise you, you won't regret it. I'm Scuba Steve, still from Oklahoma. I'm out.